Kora-Ntu, the child who heard the wind, long before maps were drawn, before kings wrote their names into stone, before the world forgot how to listen. There was Kora-Ntu, a kingdom stretched across endless golden grasslands, where rivers shone like melted silver beneath the moon. Forests breathed like sleeping giants, and the wind carried secrets older than mankind itself. The people of Kora-Ntu believed the land was alive, not in the way trees sway or rivers flow, but alive in spirit. The elders said the earth remembered every footstep, the sky remembered every lie, and the wind remembered every name ever spoken. At the center of this great kingdom stood Kora-Ntu, the city of echoes. Its towers rose from the earth like carved sunlight. Markets sang with laughter. Drums thundered through the streets at dusk. But inside the king's hall sat something strange, an empty throne beside the ruler. No one sat there, no one dared, because that throne belonged to the unseen, to the ancestors, and every king ruled in fear of disappointing the voices beyond the veil. Then one night, everything changed. The storm arrived without clouds, no rain, no wind, only thunder. The people rushed from their homes in terror as lightning split the sky again and again, illuminating the kingdom in blinding white flashes. And in the middle of that impossible storm, a child was born. His mother screamed as thunder shook the village walls. The midwives whispered prayers beneath trembling breaths. And the moment the child opened his eyes, the storm stopped. Silence swallowed the world. The elders looked at the boy in fear. An omen, one whispered. No. Another replied softly. A warning. The child was named Io, one who listens. But from the beginning, Io was different. As a child, he would stop in the middle of conversations and stare into empty space. He spoke to rivers. He listened to grass. Sometimes he answered voices no one else could hear. The villagers feared him quietly. Children avoided him. Even his own mother watched him with uncertain eyes, as though wondering whether she had given birth to a blessing. Or something the world was never meant to understand. Then, when Io turned 7, the whispers began. Not inside his mind, outside. The wind spoke. At first, it came in fragments, broken sounds between the trees, whispers carried across the savannah at night. But slowly, the voices became clearer. And one evening, standing alone beneath a dying orange sunset, Io heard something that made his blood run cold. The wind whispered names, names of people who had not been born yet. Io stumbled backward in fear. The grass around him bent violently, though no storm moved above. Then the wind spoke again. The balance is breaking. That night, unable to sleep, Io followed the whispers beyond the village, beyond the river, beyond the sacred grounds where no child was allowed to walk. The moon hung enormous above the earth. The stones waited in silence. Ancient black monoliths stood in a circle beneath the stars, covered in markings no living person could read. As Io stepped closer, the ground cracked. Blue light exploded from beneath the earth. The boy fell backward, shielding his eyes as dust spiraled into the air like living smoke. And from the glowing fracture, something emerged, tall, masked, wrapped in gold dust and shadow. Its eyes burned like dying stars. Io could not breathe. The spirit looked down at him. "You hear them," it said. Its voice sounded like mountains collapsing. Io's lips trembled. "Who are you?" The spirit tilted its head slowly. "I am the keeper of what must not be remembered." The night itself seemed to recoil at the name. Io tried to run, but the wind held him still. "You were chosen," the keeper said. "Chosen for what?" The spirit looked toward the distant kingdom of Kora-Ntu. For the ending or the saving of everything. The keeper revealed a truth buried beneath centuries of silence. Long before Kora-Ntu became a kingdom, the world had been guarded by 3 sacred forces. The river that remembers everything, the forest that never sleeps, and the sky that records every lie. Together they kept balance between mankind and the unseen world. But greed had poisoned one ancient king. He desired power over nature itself. He wanted rivers that obeyed, forests that knelt, skies that remained silent. So he forged something forbidden, the Stone of Command. A relic capable of silencing the voice of the world. But the spirits feared its power, and so they buried it beneath Kora-Ntu, erasing all memory of its existence. Or at least, they tried. "The seal is breaking," the keeper warned. Io's heartbeat thundered in his chest. What happens if it wakes? For the first time, fear crossed the spirit's face. The world will fall silent. No wind, no voices, No connection between humanity and the living earth, only emptiness. A silence so deep it would swallow the soul of Kora-Ntu forever. Io looked toward the distant lights of his home. He was only a child. How could a child stop something ancient? But the keeper stepped aside and pointed toward the horizon. You must listen. And so, Io began his journey. He crossed rivers glowing beneath moonlight. He walked through forests where trees whispered forgotten languages. He climbed cliffs where storms were born. At the river that remembers everything, he saw terrible visions in the water, cities burning, children crying, forests turned to ash beneath black skies. And at the center of it all, silence. At the forest that never sleeps, the trees revealed another truth. Someone inside Kora-Ntu was awakening the stone intentionally. Not an enemy from another kingdom, not a monster, one of their own. A council elder, a man who believed silence meant peace. By the time Io returned home, the kingdom had already begun to change. The rivers no longer sang. Birds vanished from the skies, and every night the wind grew weaker. Then came the final evening. Thunder rolled above Kora-Ntu. The people gathered in terror around the royal altar as the council elder raised a glowing fragment of the stone of command toward the heavens. Blue cracks spread across the earth beneath the city. The elder's voice echoed through the storm. No more chaos. No more suffering. No more voices. The world trembled, and suddenly the wind disappeared completely. The silence that followed was horrifying. No insects, no trees moving, no breath from the sky. Even the people stopped speaking, as if the world itself had forgotten how. Then Io stepped forward, small, alone, terrified, but listening. The elder laughed bitterly. You are too late, child. Io looked around at the frozen kingdom, then softly said, Peace is not silence. The elder sneered. Io closed his eyes and listened harder than he ever had before. He listened to the river, to the forest, to the sky, to every forgotten voice buried beneath centuries of fear. And then he spoke, not loudly, but truthfully. He spoke the names the world had forgotten. He spoke the songs erased from memory. He spoke with the voice of everything alive. The wind exploded across the kingdom. The stone of command cracked. Light burst from the earth like a second sunrise. The silence shattered. The elder screamed as the storm consumed him. And for the first time in generations, Kora-Ntu breathed again. When dawn arrived, the kingdom was forever changed. The rivers sang louder. The forests whispered freely. The wind danced once more across the savannah. The people called Io a hero. Some called him a prophet. Others called him cursed. But Io refused the throne offered to him, because he understood something greater than power. The world did not need rulers who controlled voices. It needed listeners. And so Io vanished into the horizon, walking beside the wind, listening to the living world, protecting the balance between mankind and the unseen. And even now, the elders say that if you stand alone beneath the night sky of ancient Kora-Ntu and remain very still, you may hear the wind whisper softly through the grass, not in anger, not in fear, but in remembrance, because the world is always speaking. And somewhere beyond the horizon, the listener still answers.